Hey there, cowboy. Hey there, cowgirl. What's up? Good morning to you beautiful sons and daughters of bitches out there. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for joining me. We're doing it again on Wednesday, October the 19th, 2022. Glad you made it. It's another social production. Thank you for joining me. If you're a first time viewer and listener to the show, thank you very much. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com/robsadri, where you get all the action on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you've been with me for roughly 2 years now, shout out to you. You know who you are. Sending all the love and positive energy your way. Let's get right into it. Let's have some fun. Let's get some of that coffee first of all. Get all the coffee. Stay caffeinated. Man, oh man. Ladies and gents, we try to have fun around here. We try to goof on each other. We try to just stay silly, have fun, shoot the shit for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then everybody's on their merry way, doing their thing. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. And this morning, I'll tell you, it's exciting times we're living in, and you gotta just take the day by the horn and ride that bull day. You know what I'm talking about? You gotta just seize the day. Some say, make the best of this, and that's making the best of us. You know, make the best of it. Rest of us, make the best of us. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say make the best of it. I meant to say, yeah, that's what I meant. Best of us. But nonetheless, man, you can't do it. Some say you can't do it without that coffee. And your boy here is one of those people who says something along the lines of, you can't do it without coffee. You might have heard that saying somewhere else. Maybe in your local coffee shop. You can't do it without coffee. What are they talking about? Taking on the day. Taking on the bull day. You know? Taking the horns. Grabbing the bull by the nads, just giving it a nice squeeze. Oh, everybody's fertile now. Everybody's, out there creating, contributing to society in one shape or form. But you can't do it without coffee. And I ran out of coffee. Had to go and snatch me some. And I'm not fancy with it. You know what I mean? I got my regular Nescafe pre-made coffee. It just takes hot water, and that, it's already been grounded. That's what I like. I like my coffee grounded or grounded, because I you know me, dog. All about center, all about Zen City, all about being grounded. I like my coffee grounded. You give me full beans, I'm gonna have some questions like how do you ground them? How do you grind them? And that's what. So I just I delegate that to some other individuals. Thank you, Nescafe, Nescafe. You know what it is. Pre-made coffee. All half-made like it's not fully pre-made, like it's ready to go. Again, you need to boil your own water, and that's on to you to take care of. But everything else, it's just like, oh, pour the Nescafe in the cup and just stir, baby. And next thing you know, a minute and a half, you're sipping. You're like, is that enough time for you to avoid burnage? Maybe, maybe not. But a little bit of burnage went a long way. That's how you made real men and women out there. Through a little bit of burnage, a little bit of that. Oh, this is gonna hurt for a couple of days, and that's a reminder for you to be ready for the next day, or something along those lines. But you can't do it without coffee. I ran out, had to go early in the morning, get that cup of, because I'm like, no, let's just wait till we go grocery shopping and we'll pick up coffee. And that thought lasted for about half a second. I'm like, who are you kidding? You coffee addict. I don't care, dude. I'll say it. I'm proud of it. Give me 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee a day. I'm happy as a clam. That's what it is. Just clamming it up and down. Feeling good though. You can't go without coffee. I don't know how some people do it. I can understand if you're like a tea drinker. I can understand that. We're still into the hot beverage zone. We can, we're not going to be best friends. I'll tell you that. But I can relate. Hot beverages, especially in fall, winter time, I can relate to that. But yeah, man, I can't imagine my days without coffee. It's one of my simple pleasures, not a guilty one. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. All pleasures are guilt-free. Doesn't make sense to have guilty pleasures. Oh, what's my guilty pleasure? All your pleasures should not. Maybe some should have. I don't know. For me, I'm gonna double down. No guilty pleasures. All pleasures are fun-filled activities, and coffee is definitely one of those teeny tiny little bit of just a good old, that's like, oh, everything comes together once that coffee goes in your system. We're like, all right, let's go, we're rocking and rolling, let's go. And that's what it is. Thank you to all the coffee beans, thank you to all the coffee farmers. And that's what that is, man. What else is going on? What else is going on? We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting there. It's spooky season. Halloween's right around the corner, less than 2 weeks away, and I feel it. I feel it. I feel it, man. I feel it. And we'll get right into it. But the other night, before I get right into it, let me just, let's break it down, I guess. I guess we'll talk about everything as it comes along. But one thing that I do want to mention, the other night I was just sitting down, late in the PM, mellowing out, just, relaxing, watching a little sesh on the telly. I don't even remember what it was playing at the time, but I got distracted for a second because the sun had come down, and all of a sudden I noticed a little critter just walking on my coffee table. And I look close and I'm like, no, you're not tripping. Something's definitely crawling on the old coffee table. What is it? What is it? Pay attention, focus, zoom in on the target. Little teeny tiny cockroach. Gross, I know. Man, oh man. Oh man, oh man. It's one of those, and that's what it is, man. That's what it is. That's what it is. That season right now, because, I'll get into it. I'll get into my predictions as to where it came from and what it entails for the near future. But what I'm trying to get to is that I see this little cockroach on the coffee table, and oh man, me and cockroaches, we do not, I'm down with most of God's creatures, I'll tell you that, but few critters here and there, few little bugs here and there, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm not fond of them. I don't do too well with cockroaches, you know what I mean? And that's okay too, because you don't want a fellow who thrives on cockroaches, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna flourish with the cockroach community. I'm that type of fellow, label me classic, traditional. But yeah, I don't do too well with cockroaches. Some say it's a handicap, some say it's just common sense. Others debate about it all day and long, but it was on my coffee table. It was a little baby one too, which is just a whole nother, story of its own. But I got to thinking, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to take this mofo out here, and and you start going through thoughts and processes that you're like, okay, you don't want to make too many sudden movements because this bugger's moving fast, but you don't want to move too slow either, because then it'll move fast and it's just gone. Where'd it go? Oh no. I start to, thoughts are going on. I'm like, do I grab my shoe? Do I smack it with the old shoe? Do I give it a little, do I find my slipper, whack it with the slipper? Do I just grab a couple of, squares of that TP, roll it up, and just go smush? What do? I'm just like, I don't even want to touch it, dude. I don't want to touch it, lady. It's what it is. That's it's like, what are you doing in my space, dude? What are you doing in my space? And that's what it is. I did take him out using all the essential tools, a little bit of, but here's the thing. I got up from my couch and it was on the coffee table. By the time that I got up, it was already gone. So I didn't actually kill it immediately. Took a little while, I'm not gonna lie. It took me like 10 minutes to find it again because it got lost. Because it's in the evening, the sun is already set. I'm using minimal lights because I don't go too bright in the evening, just because it's like, enough light time, you know what I mean? It's just like you're working on one lamp and the light of the telly, and that's enough lightage in the old apartment studio, you know what I'm talking about? But I got lost for a second. My coffee table's brown, my carpet is gray, and this thing is a mix of brown and gray, which is just like, oh man, this bitch is camoed up. What time it is? It's go time. That's what time it is. So it's just gone as soon as I get off the couch, and now I'm searching for it. I'm like, oh shit, where'd it go? I'm like, did it fall on the carpet? Now I got the little flashlight on my iPhone, just trying to search for this little cockroach, and I can't find it, dude. I'm like, did it fall and go under the couch? I'm like, oh no, did it go under the... And you start thinking, you're like, what if I can't find this thing? What if I can't find it and we gotta spend the evening together? And that's a whole nother thought. I'm like, it's my My space is, it's large, dude. It's large. I'll tell you that. You know, one bedroom apartment, it is quite large. So with that being said, I know full well that like I could be in the bedroom at any given time, and this cockroach could be anywhere. And you know how large apartments work, you know, anywhere. So it's like I'm not worried about like running into it, or am I? You know, at the same rate, it's just like, oh, how many bedrooms are there? It's like one bedroom, one kitchen. You check the kitchen, you check the living room, check the bathroom. It's not there. Where is it? In your pillowcase in the evening, in the AM. Now we've gone into like, you know, midnight hours. Where is it? In your pillowcase. Oh, I'm sleeping. I'm dreaming. Where is it? In your ear. In your ear, dude. Just nibbling on that lobe. Hanging off a lobe, dude. But I'm not going to go out like that. And I got, you know, before I took it out, many thoughts ran into my mind. I'm like, how'd it get here, fam? How'd it get here? How'd this cockroach end up in my apartment? Because I'm up here. I'm up here doing it on the, you know, we're on the levels. We're on the level, baby. Up here. Not going to tell you which exact floor, but I'm up here doing it. So it takes a little bit of time for that little bugger to get up here. It's not just like, oh, I'm on like ground floor. No big deal. I'm just going to go from the garden, let's say, you know, from the city streets. I'm just going to get up on one floor and I'm in your living. No, this bitch has to work for it to get up in this space. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, how did it get here? Is it the, you know, and my thoughts, dude, it goes everywhere, dude. I'm like, is it the, you know, is it the World Economic Forum, dude? Is this how they're getting us? Little by little, dude, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna sip on some coffee in the evening, watch a little telly, jot down some notes, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, boom, here, have a little taste, have a little sample, this little teeny tiny, and they'll hit you with a little tiny one. I'm like, World Economic Forum, all the time, like, that's what it is. My thoughts, I'm like, that's what it is, man. And I'm not falling for it. You're not gonna get this guy like that. It's not gonna be that easy, dude. It's not gonna be just like, oh, we're just gonna put it on the coffee table. You just consume it little by little. You know what I mean? And I'm all alone. I could do it. Nobody would be able to tell. But I'm not that type of fella. I'm not that type of fella. You know what I mean? For, you know, catch me in a Southeast Asian jungle, you know, catch me somewhere in the Southeast in the middle of the jungles, and it's just like maybe four of us, and we're just, you know, sitting in a hut with machetes and revolvers, and we're just playing spin the bottle, and somebody's like standing right over your shoulder like, spin the bottle, and like, and whoever it lands, you gotta eat a cockroach. It's like cockroach roulette, dude. That's what it is. Roach roulette. That's what you like. If we're doing that game, you know what I mean? And stakes are high, and they're yelling, and I'm sweating, and I don't want to spin the bottle, but like, it's dire circumstances up in this rainforest right now, and it's like me, my homeboy, and two other individuals who are participating in this spin the bottle version of roach roulette, if you will. And under those circumstances, all right, fine, so be it. If need be, if I need to save a life of my partner, you know what I mean? Because we're out there in the jungle, just like machete and a 22, a 24. What's up? I'll do it. But that being said, reg life, living my good reg life in the evening, just like mellowing out a little bit, trying to prepare for the rest of the week. All of a sudden, you're on my coffee table, on my turf. And you're like, oh, look at me. I'm so delicious and little and brown. You're disgusting. You're disgusting. And I said it to her. Like, I yelled. I couldn't see him or her because it was just like, again, camoed up. All right? But I yelled at her. I'm like, you're disgusting. You know that? You're disgusting. I said that. And I ended up moving the couch. Wasn't there, which was kind of, you know, it was one of those bittersweet moments, you know, when you don't want to move the couch, but you move the couch and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, it's Dust Bunny City all day, every day. So you get to cleaning down there, which was, you know, not too shabs, not gonna lie. It was one of those moments where you're like, this doesn't seem helpful at the moment, but then hindsight, you're like, all the help. Just cleanliness, overall cleanliness. And I do take care of the place, but you know, it had been a while since I pushed the couch, but it wasn't there. So it was like kind of a moot point. Could I have lived with more dust bunnies under my couch? Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. The sky's the limit. Like, the ceiling's the limit. You know, I could pretend the sky's for enclosed quarters. It accumulate. If we're just, if the sky's the limit, then wind's blowing, dust bunnies are everywhere. You can't really, but I like to, keep a cap on it, and that's just like a minimum inch, 2 inches off the ground. I'm talking about the bottom of the couch. So it builds up. I had a good, half centimeter in some locations. It was just like clustered, which was, oh, what are you doing? Clean up, which was, I did, but it wasn't there. It wasn't there, and I was just like, oh no, where is it? Is it on the gray carpet? Is it on the, and this gray carpet of mine, it's not like a solid, like, it's a carpet. You know how carpets, like, oh, you're looking at it, it's like gray, but it's not like, some parts are light gray, some parts are dark gray. You got hints of black in there. So in the evening, with inadequate lighting, let's say, it's just like, oh no, where is it? Behind your ear, you know what I mean? Just like gross. But didn't want to play that game. I eventually found it. It was under the second level of my coffee table, because that's what I do with my coffee table. It's got levels to it. So one level for, like, a loose cord that I've just, like, I've coiled it up, and there's a loose cord. I don't even know what it's for. Those like loose random cords that you accumulate over the years because of the electronics and with it. I've got one of those. Got a couple of those cords, just like, it's there on the bottom of the coffee table, no big deal. Second shelf, second floor, leveling up, a Sega controller, which I've not played for 2 years, and that was a Sega Genesis that I bought right before the pandy. At the moment, $60 seemed like a good idea, and it came with a lot of games, and I'm happy about it, but I've played it, maybe 10, 12 times tops. I get my money's worth with it, but nonetheless, second shelf is occupied by like a second Sega Genesis controller, so nothing really happening on the coffee table or inside of it. But then I look closely on the first floor, on the first shelf. There it is, dude, right beside the loose cords. Just like trying to stay cool and calm, collected in the dark. Oh, I'm not here. Don't worry. I'm just gonna chill right here, lay low. And while you go sleep, I'm gonna run to the kitchen, probably go into the garbage can, nibble on some food, and then I'll just, like, you go to bed first, I'll catch up with you. One of those situations. I'm like, I don't need that right now. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we can cuddle. You be the big spoon. I'm like, no thanks. No thanks. No matter how you spin this thing, I'm not down with it. World Economic Forum, just like slipping it on my coffee table. Oh, have a little nibble. No thanks. Jesus. But that's what it is, man. I took it out, smacked it on the head. I forget whether with my shoe or a slipper, grabbed some TP, crumple it up, toss it in the toilet, flush it, and I watch it, dude, as it's spiraling down. I'm like, this is what you get. This is what you get. I have no sympathy for cockroaches. No sympathy. That's like, man. Oh. Because it's like, that's one of those, and I had a dream several weeks ago. Again, the ones that are with me, I've mentioned that's a bar that I've dropped in the past, dude. I've had a dream about cockroaches several weeks ago, maybe about a week ago or something, dude. And I just woke up in the middle of my dreaming. I'm like, cockroaches. And here we are, real life, cockroach. So again, World Economic Forum, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's due to the fact that I had to turn on the heater because it's getting a little bit cold, and that's what it is. Maybe they've just been, living in the old heating and cooling system of the old building, and just like, oh, things are getting a little bit warmed up, we're gonna just hatch from our eggs and bounce on out of here and find life. And I'm like, life stops here, dude. You thought you're just gonna get cozy and, like, get in my ventilation system, get hired by the World Economic Forum, come climb in my ventilation system, live up there for several months, shacking it up with other cockroaches, giving birth to multiple cockroaches. Oh God, I didn't even think about the babies. God, oh man, if it was a baby, that means there's more. I hope not, dude. I hope that was the last of it, because we don't even get those. We don't even get those here. Up here in the Great White North, dude, nah, because it's cold, dude. You don't see cockroaches in the wilderness when it's like icy and like just snowy, and you don't see that here. We'll play around with a couple of raccoons, but that's pretty much it, dude. No cockroaches. I mean, you can find cockroaches in almost any back alley that happens to, be the back end of a restaurant of sorts. It happens, near the garbage bins, but like, it's not a thing that you're gonna find in most houses from experience. But that's what it is, man. Had to take out that's what it is. You send your dirty little agents What ifs, dude? I'm not gonna eat it. Immediately, I'm like, oh, this is some foul play right here, some foul shit right here, son. And it stops with this is where it stops, dude. I see it on the internet. Oh, let's make a little sandwich with these roaches or little buggers. And it's like, and this is how they start, dude. Right in your house, right on your coffee table. You didn't even think about it, did you? It's so blatantly right in your face, in your space, dude. And I wasn't having it, man. But that's just a little bit. It's getting spooky. It's getting near Halloween time. It's that season. It felt a little bit spooky. It felt a little bit appropriate. I might say that. I just did. I'm gonna stand by it too. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand on me. Stand on me. Stand by me, on me. Stand on my face. That's what it is, man. But I'm like, no thanks. I took it out. And that's a little bit of a roach story, you know what I mean? But that's aside the point. So I was a little bit in the spooky mindset already. It's October and I'm like, let me go into let me put myself in a little bit of a spooky situation here. Watch me a little something spooky. It's been a while since I watched something like, I try to start watching Dahmer and I know everybody's talking about it, but I couldn't get into it. I watched maybe like 20-30 minutes of it and I was like, I'm not feeling it, you know? So I turned that off, but then I'm like, I'm still searching because it's October season. I want a little bit of spook action. That's what I'm talking about, baby. So I'm like, let me watch something spooky. What's spooky on Netflix? Going through it, come across a little series called The Watcher. And at first I was a little bit thrown off because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and watch, a series about a watcher. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit and watch somebody who's into, clockwork. I'm not gonna sit here and watch somebody who's into pendulums and little Tweety birds popping out of grandfather clocks. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not into, oh, are we talking a fellow who's really enamored by digital versus analog? You know what I'm talking about? Like, how scary could it be, Oh, it's spooky and it's like pocket watch, like The Watcher. How, it's a little bit, the title was like, man, is it going to be just a focus on like Swiss made or like Japanese made? Like, what is it? Who makes the best watches? I'm like, how scary could this get? But then like a few episodes into it, I'm like, this isn't about watches at all. It's about like a family who's going through it, which is a scary situation. I'm not going to give any spoilers away because we don't fucking spoil shit in here, dog. We don't just go through movies or series that just come out and just like give you the beginning, middle, and ending. We've done that. Sometimes we do that. Okay, fine. Guilty as charged. But like on this particular occasion, because I want you to watch The Watcher and don't think that it's about watches or a fella or a lady who's into like, again, digital analog. You know what I mean? Casio versus Rolex, and a G-Shock. What are we doing here? It's not about that. Not at all. Sundial? Forget about it. It's about people. It's about people, believe it or not, That's what I thought. I'm like, Watcher, please. I can only get excited to a certain level when it comes to time. When it comes to watching. As a daily observer of life, I'm like, I can get into this. What is this about? It's about, man, it's about a family. And isn't that relatable? Because guess where all of us came from? Penises and vaginas that belong to families. That's right. That's right. Familia. Hits you right here, doesn't it? Hits you right here. And that's why I decided to watch it. I'm like, okay, I like this. What is this? It's about a family. And I got into it, man. Watched half an hour of it. It was a little bit scary for your boy. And not to, that's the thing. Your boy's not the type of, I'm not going to like, we don't get scared by scary movies up in this bitch. You know what I mean? I don't flinch when there's like, oh, look, boom, right there. No, not this guy. Cool, calm, collected cucumber, thank you very much. A little bit of increase in the heart rate, but that's just like, you're human. You know what I mean? Why are your palms so clammy? Why aren't yours clammy? You know what I mean? I could easily reverse this and we're just playing turntables at this moment. But the point is, man, I wanted to watch something spooky and I got into it, but then I had to turn it off because it was a little bit too spooky and it was a little bit I was a little bit alone on the weekend. I was like rainy and cloudy, just like a day like today. Just like a day like today. It's rainy, not rainy, but cloudy. It's like, it's got that like East Coast, like something's about to go down. You know what I'm talking about? East Coast, like fall, winter vibes when it's like gray outside. Leaves are yellow, green, turning orange, brown, red, falling off. And spooky things may occur. You know what I mean? Spooky things occur with a cloudy background. So I'm already, and I've had the run-in, I got cornered by a little roach trying to get on my turf, nip it in the bud, no big deal. Just flexing, dude, just flexing hard, just setting a tone. And I'm like, I'm not afraid, dude. I'm not afraid of a little series. That's the thing, me and fear, that's the thing. I don't go like full, like, I can't just like be like, okay, we're getting into, I'll take it in like little teeny tiny increments, and like that way I'm just like microdosing fear and anxiety. And I give it to myself because I enjoy it a little bit, right? All of us do. We're like, oh, why am I watching this? Because you enjoy it. That's what it is. It's sick. It's sick. But that's what it is. It's getting in touch with all your emotions and be like, okay, I can, watch this and get a little spooked and still go on and live my life. Watched it and it was, man, let's get into it. Because I'm not going to give, man. Watch it. It's called The Watcher. If you've not watched it, watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. And I'll talk about the themes, because we can talk about some of the themes. And these are like, the themes, some of the themes are, themes remain, themes are themes, baby. Themes don't change. Themes are, we can maybe add a few themes here and there, but it's hard to come up with like new themes. But nonetheless, you can add variations to the themes, and that in and of itself is like a new theme. It's like a theme within a theme. It's like a sub-theme. Let's get into it, fam. Let's get into it. Let me just get a sip of this for a second. I just got my own heart rate going, dude, for a second. It's just like, oh, spooky season. It's getting in here, dude. I can feel it. I'll tell you this before I get into the themes. I watched half an hour. I turn it off. I'm like, you gotta watch this in pieces. And then I come back and I start watching and I start binge watching it. But then I get to the second episode. Watch the second episode. It finished and it's like, things are turned up, dude. Things are turned up, and I'm already like, okay, you watched 2 episodes, just shut it off for a second. Let's just, just calm down. Let's just relax for a second. As soon as I shut it off, I'm like, let's just, when you watch something a little bit spooky, a little bit scary, you're like, okay, I need a little bit of just, even maybe 5 minutes of just like downtime or whatever, dude, just to relax for a second. Maybe you'll come back to it later. Maybe you'll watch it and binge it instantly like I did. But I turned it off after the second episode, just like, okay, relax. And it's just no big deal, no big deal. It's just you, the telly, and a good series. That's what this relationship, a good series and you enjoying it, consuming it. It's a beautiful, that's what it is. And it's just, it's like, it's all fiction. That's what you tell yourself. As soon as I turned it off, though, not even like 30 seconds after I saw it, it's just like, went from a lot of like, oh, what is going on? Scary stuff is going on. Turn it off, and all I hear is a large, just, oh man, loud knock on the door, dude. Knock, knock. Someone's knocking. I'm like, oh man, I legit almost shat my pants. Like, it's just even like reliving it, almost shit myself right now, dude. Not gonna lie to you guys, but yeah, as soon as I turned off the second episode, somebody's knocking on the door hard, and I'm like, oh man. It's happening, dude. I'm watching spooky things. There's a cockroach in my dreams. There's a cockroach on my like living room coffee table. Watching scary movies. Knock on the door. I'm like, I know how this plays out, dude. I hear the knock. And like instantly, I panic because it's like, oh, everything's just working together. I panic and I get up and I'm like, oh, I gotta answer the door. And I open the door after checking the people just to make sure who it is, and I can't see who it is. So I open the door without asking, who is it? And I open the door and there's a gentleman standing outside with a pamphlet talking about local elections and a candidate that he's repping. He's like, vote for this guy. He's a good guy. And I'm just like, taking a pamphlet. I'm like, looking all sorts of excited and scared and just also trying to keep it cool. I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely look into this pamphlet and the local elections. Sweating though, hard. Luckily, I had my pants and shoes on because you don't want to like open the door and be sweating and like looking all sorts of exasperated and a little bit, just, a little bit on edge, let's say. And he handed me the pamphlet, I took it, I thanked him, got back inside, and just, and that's heart rate increase, dude. It was tense. But that's the thing, we don't get phased by a roach or a scary series or even a loud, obnoxious knock on the door. You know what I mean? The guy was cool. It's not on him. It was just like, the sequence of events. You go through that and see how you feel, dude. It's a loud knock. Startled me. And I collected myself, and it's all good. But let's get into it, man. Those are just like, a series of events that I wanted to talk to you guys about. But before that, let me get a sip of this. Coffee. Good old coffee, and that's how you consume it, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Let's talk about some of the themes, though, in the scary movies, and maybe the do's or don'ts. Maybe a little bit of the old pro and con stitch. Let's get into it, because we're getting into that season, and this could easily be a PSA. It could easily be just like an analysis of scary movies. It could just be, us shooting the shit, having some fun. But let's start with the main subject topic of a lot of scary movies. Talking the haunted house. A scaredy house, dude. A big old scary house. These houses do exist. And what do you do with them? Why do people gravitate towards some houses? It's, well, watch the series, and it's, different from other horror series or, scary series out there, but nonetheless, some of the themes are the same, and it's one of the themes is the haunted house. Is the house haunted? What are the attributes of a haunted house? Let's get into it. Why? Okay, here's the thing. Typically, I've never seen a small haunted house. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it. I think it's easy to avoid haunted houses if you've never seen a apartment unit that's haunted, luckily. You know what I mean? That's mostly, if they're haunted, it's a thing by itself. It's like a house by itself, or it's like a hotel. It's like a big hotel, and it's off there on the corner in the middle of nowhere by itself. So that's like one of the hints, one of the giveaways that this house may be potentially a haunted house. What other indications could there be? Here's the thing, and you're like, man, okay, what do I do if I were to come face to face with a haunted house? Do I proceed or do I back away? And you always proceed, always proceed, because that always happens to work out for the majority of the individuals involved with that house or dwelling, place of residency, So if you were to, what's an indicator? If you pull up to a place, and all of a sudden you see out the window, when you pull up to a place, let's say you leave the car, you get out of the car, you're just like, yeah, we just arrived at this beautiful house. Or if you see somebody in the window, and here's the thing, when it comes to like window etiquette, there's a lot of do's and don'ts, but mostly do's, minimal don'ts. There are a lot of activities behind windows you might see people walking by. Typical classic do behind the window activity, no big deal. Somebody's walking behind a window, no big deal. Somebody's got a spatula in hand whipping up some whipped cream to, either make dessert or, take it in other bedrooms of the household, no big deal. Typical activities. You see what else might you see behind a window? You might see a little cat just like sitting there licking its little paw. Look at me, I'm a little cat. I'm a little cat. Just typical cat behavior, So you're safe if you see that. What is not typical classic window etiquette? If somebody's like, if you roll up to a joint, if you see a lot of, okay, here's the thing. Actually, come to think of it, a lot of things behind the window are sus. I'm going to just switch and reverse these on this. A lot of things behind the window are sus. motionless figures. And I was gonna actually come down really hard on the elderly, but then I'm like, you know what? Almost any age group, if they're like still behind a window for too long, dude, you know, and we gotta have time limits on windows. You can't just be lingering around windows, just fucking like, I'm gonna just stare out this window for, realistically, fam, more than 10, 15 seconds. I'll be generous. If you're staring out the window for more than a minute, I'm gonna need you to I'm just gonna have to ask you to remove yourself from that. Because like any like, whether it's a young girl, a young boy, middle-aged teenager, full grayed out grandma or if you're just like staring out the window all fucking like, I'm just looking at you from above and not even saying anything, just like just looking all sorts of fucking ominous vibes, dude. Just like, oh, I'm just gonna look at you, you know. And just like, if you see that, if you see like, you know, upper body moving, but like it doesn't seem like they're utilizing their legs. You just see like a sliding like figure, just like, oh, just sliding over through the window. Sus, dude. That's sus. If you see somebody just like, this is the window. If you see just like a person just like coming and going, sus. Especially young children. And windows, little girl in a dress, little boy with one of those little colorful hats with a little spinner on top, with a little propeller on top, just fucking licking a little lollipop, all sorts of fucking just like dead eyes, dude, no blinkage. Sus. You see a teenager just like no movement in the arms and in the window, no movement in the arms in the window, looks a little bit anorexic. I'm just gonna put it out there. You know what I'm talking about, dude. Fucking like greasy hair, no shower, no nothing, a little bit anorexic, just like in a dress, just like I'm gonna just like be in this dirty dress and just fucking like shimmy on to the side. Sus teenager behind window, back away from the house. You're like, who else can be creepy behind a house? Almost anyone. Come to think of it, man, a lot of people can be creepy behind windows. Here's the thing, you know, 20s to 30s, you know, prime of their life, right behind a window, sus. What are you doing right behind a window, dude? You're in your prime, lady. Get out of the house. See 20 to 30-year-old behind a window, just fucking, you know, no blinkage, just fucking resting bitch face, just fucking, you know what I'm talking about? Just, if they got like pitch black hair, dude, pitch black hair, sus. Behind pitch black hair behind window, sus, dude. Back away from the house. 20, 30-year-olds behind windows, dude. 40, 50-year-olds. 40, 50, what are you doing? 40, 50-year-old, you shouldn't be in the house. You should be working out there, dude. If you see a 40, 50-year-old lady that looks like, that's just like, you know, a 40, 50-year-old lady that looks like just a housewife that looks way too calm. Because, you know, mothers in general, you got a lot of things going on. But if a bitch is just like midday, just lingering by the window, just midday, just fucking cool, calm, collected, maybe with a glass of wine, remove the wine. No hand movement. Again, very typical. No hand movement behind the fucking window. Again, long hair, greasy, pitch dark black hair. I want to say this, dude. Pale skin behind a window. And I'm cool with all sorts of, you know me, dog, love for everybody, but there's a level of, you know what I'm talking about, dude, where it's like, you know, it's not even that they're like, it's like off-white, dude. That shit, if it's like a little bit like grayish white, you see a little bit grayish white, you see like spider veins like all around the eyes, shit, like tired eyes, dude. No color, greasy black hair, dress that's ambiguous. Is it from the 18th century? Is it from the 19th century? Is it like is it a nightgown that she picked up at Victoria's Secret? I don't fucking know, dude, but sus. Cause what are you doing? You're just like moving behind this window, all fucking just like, again, no lower movement, no lower body movement, all torso, dude, just fucking watching you, you know, just send a, or one of the creepiest one, elderly. The elderly behind. Why do you think, low key, dude, this is just between us, fam. Why do you think we created the elderly facilities? the elder homes, the elder care homes. They're fucking creepy. That's right, you got it. Old people behind windows, creepy. Fucking creepy. That's why you put them off into like distant places in society where you're like, oh, I don't want to be near that energy. It's just like, ugh, get away from me. You know what I mean? But that's just love, man. We love everybody, the elderly especially. But around October season, it's like, dude, if you're grayed out and if you're rocking an overall, if I see you with an overall and you're grayed out, lingering behind a window, motionless, sus, back away, pull out of that house. That driveway is just sending all sorts of signals that you should just be backing it up. All right? But those are the initial sights. But that's the thing. Some people see these things and they're like, it's just, just no big deal. No big deal, just a window enthusiast who just happens to linger on by the window for more than 30 seconds, because that's what it is. You know what? You live your best life, you see a fella or a lady hanging out by the window for more than like 5 minutes and you still want to go inside that house, then you know what, fam? I'm not going to feel bad for you. I'm not going to feel sorry for you. There was quite a bit of warning signals and signs, a lot of red flags that you should not be going into this house, but there it is. You're like, oh, let's go check out this house. How bad could it be? Man. One of the signs. That's like, again, if you see a house, large house, anybody lingering by the window too long, no emotions on the face, just back away. Just back away. Yeah. That's just a little advice. But then again, if you're like into danger, if you're into like, oh, I don't know how to end a relationship, let's just roll the dice on this bitch. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Oh, these kids, if you're tired of your kids, haunted houses, fucking, it's 50-50, you never know, you know what I mean? But that's like, that's life, man. Other themes that are, one major theme, if I could, children with abilities to talk to spirits or ghosts. If you got one of these kids out there who is talking to ghosts, seeing spirits, hearing voices and or music that is not for anybody, like if there's no music, they're hearing music. If they're, here, that child, sus, abort, dude, abort. That's fine. That is fine. That is completely fine. There's, certain times where nature is telling you that is a demon child. You know what I mean? Kid that's got, just, there's no, like, son, kids are wonderful. They can go, through their days just like adults do. They had their good days, their bad days, and what. But, some kids, there's just like no emotion on the face whatsoever. Never gets excited about anything. Back away, abort that kid. Abort that kid immediately. You can always make more kids. That kid is a bad omen. That kid is there's some bad kids out there. I'm just going to keep it honest with you. And this is coming from a guy who's experienced having no kids of his own. But legit, you've seen it in the movies, dude. And then the parents are always like, oh, but it's my kid. Dude, it's possessed, dude. You got to like get an exorcist or some shit. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, bones are cracking, and like try looking cool as a parent with a kid that's just gone through an exorcism and just like, you know what I mean? Regular, it would have been fine, but having to explain to other parents, we don't want to like be nosy, but what happened to little Jimmy? Or like exorcism, that's what happened to Jimmy. Want to find out more? Come on over for supper. And they're like, no, thank you. Like, then why'd you ask? You know what I mean? But that's just like knowing boundaries and like, play dates. Trying to find a play date for that kid, dude, that's impossible. And if it's impossible to find your kid a play date, haunted kid, dude, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But that's, again, a sign that a lot of parents too often go, I love my kid. Once it's your kid, you're gonna love it like it's your own kid. Meanwhile, the kid's just out there with a fucking, just fucking knife action all day. If that's the only toy your kid's playing with, knives, if that's the only problem child, you know what I mean? But that's just And you're like, no, but they're getting ready for like, they're into survival. You know, you'll make excuses. You'll make excuses. All the signs will be there. You're like, oh, they like the backcountry. They like getting their hands dirty. Do they? Do they? But that's just, you know, that's another, yeah. That's when you need to abort the situation. If you, yeah, so if you're already, and that's the thing, if you got one of those kids and then you arrive to one of those houses, that's just like, that's a nightmare scenario. Step away, abort the situation. Again, there's plenty more houses you can buy, plenty more kids that you can have. Don't just be like, oh, one egg, one basket. You know, how many times do we have to see this story unravel? Lovely couple gets broken apart by this demon child. Especially around October, like this, last couple of weeks of October, spooky kids, man. Spooky vibes everywhere. Spooky houses, spooky everything. I feel it. You should feel it too. Let's all get into it and have a ball. So, we talked about, I guess, the haunted house. We talked about the haunted child, which is another theme, haunted children. What else, man? What else? So many other things. So many other things, you know. What else? I'm not going to give anything away, but I will give a little something away. Okay? Tunnels, dude. Tunnels. 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 If you go into a home where it's like really old, and it's got plenty of bedrooms. If it's got more bedrooms than you could use, potential hazard, you know, fire hazard, water hazard, just hazardous. You know, too many bedrooms, you don't know what's going on. And you got a basement or two, you know, and there's potential, you know, check out the house properly before, you know, you go into any home. Check out the premise. Go around, have a walk around. Go into the basement. Check and see if there are any, you know, secret doors, any tunnels and shit. Because that is probably one of the... It's okay to have tunnels. I'll say this. It's okay to be like... Because I'm into tunnels myself, dude. If I had, you know... If I had a basement, I'd be maybe digging. You know what I mean? Because I'm into it. Put me, as a child, put me on a beach with sand near water. Classic beach, sand, water sitch. I'm digging, dude. I'm scooping, I'm digging. And I'm going like, you know, I'm a few feet away from the water now, on sand, digging as far as I can go until I still, you know, reach water. Because like, I'm elbow deep, I'm shoulder deep in sand trying to reach water. And that was a fun activity that I used to do. And again, give me a little shovel, give me some dirt, potential water out there. Like, I don't know, I'll find out. That's what it is, dude. I get motivated by different things. So, point is, what were we even talking about, man? Shovels, sand, beach, beachy sand, sandy beach. Totally forgot what I was talking about, dude. You're at the beach, you're digging for water. We're talking about houses being scary. Scary houses, beach. How did I get there? Sand, digging. We were talking about scary things. We were talking about scary things at one point. Tunnels. That's how we got to. That's right. Tunnels. Tunnels. Check out the basements. You know, check out all the rooms. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Knock on walls just to see if there's, you know, if you hear a hollow sound, knock a little bit louder. You know what I mean? Poke a couple of holes through that wall. Just see what's up. If you see, you know, if you feel a little bit of a cool breeze coming in from places that aren't supposed to have cool breezes coming in, check it out. What's the cause of the cool breeze? You know what I mean? If it's that's the thing too. If it's like a spooky basement, like that should always also be indicator as to like potential, potential spooky vibes. You know what I mean? If it's like a pitch black basement, squeaky stairs, maybe a little bit of spider webs, just like, hanging out. Be careful out there. But that's just, but those are just like, but also you can't live life always being careful. Do you see all the mentioned items? Haunted house, children, elderly behind windows, maybe a cat that's like not licking himself but licking another cat behind the window. A little sus, dude. You know what I mean? You're like, no, animals lick each other all the time. I'm like, do they though? Do they? Do they? So, question everything, have fun with it, and that's what it is, man. It's a little bit of that haunted house situation with the spooky vibes, and we're getting close to, again, October 31st, which I'm excited for. But that's the thing, man. A lot of things change. We're evolving, we're changing, we're growing. Another scary thing, I guess, this is separate from The Watcher. This is separate from this little series. This actually had to do with this morning when I had to run outside and grab coffee, and I bought coffee, bought a couple of bagels so I can have Nutella. Good old-fashioned Nutella on bagels and coffee, dude. But then I'm about to check out my items at the cash register, at the automated cash register. That's what it is. It's all automated now. And I'm there and I notice no single-use plastic anymore, dude. No single-use plastic. I don't know if it's for good or if it's just like temporary, but no single-use plastic, which is discriminatory towards single people, because it's like, oh, you gotta have a family to be able to use plastic. It's like, what about them singles, dude? What about them singles with the shingles? You know what I mean? But that's just maybe an autoimmune disease or symptom that's like, oh, how do you get it? I don't even know, dude. That's shingles. But the point is that instead of having single-use plastics, now they got this like thick old plastic bag. You know what I'm talking about? Those like thick plastic bags that are like industrial plastic bags. Like, oh, it's got like handles on it, proper like stitched on handles. I'm like, oh, and I had my headphones out. I was about to like check out, but I had to ask a question. I was gonna ask, do I have to pay for these thicker plastic bags? And I heard somebody else who was at the cash register right behind me. A lady was also checking out, because they got the cash registers with the people and they got the automated ones sometimes. If it's not a big deal, if it's not too busy, I'll go with the person. But if it's like busy, I'll just be like automated, you know what I mean? But I see that lady talking to the lady at the cash register at the local grocery store, and she's like, oh, do I have to pay extra for these bags? And she's like, no, you can get one. And she got one, so I heard that, so I didn't bother asking, because I'm like, that's just like repeating the same question. I put my coffee and my bagels in that thick old heavy duty plastic bag, and I'm just like, man, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, it would have been fine if it was just like plain, no color is fine. I guess it has advertising all over, and all sorts of advertising too, and like local advertising, like, oh, such and such realtor, such and such insurance broker, such and such car detailer, you know what I mean? Such and such pipe cleaning, you know what I mean? Such and such will come over and like, you need a handyman, you need a handy lady, oh, local masseuse, all sorts of, it's like this bag with like 10 different advertisements on it, and I'm just like, I feel like, I feel a little bit used. I feel a little bit used here. Because now I'm walking outside. Normally I'd walk outside with my grocery bags, no labels, no big deal. I'm not out here like promoting anything. I'm not out here like showing off. But now I'm walking out with this bag of groceries. It's like 10 different faces on it. And I'm like, I'm endorsing like 10 different businesses right now. Need a house, look at it, such and such. I'm like a little bus now. I'm like your local bus, because that's where you used to see advertisement before, and it's everywhere too. Advertisement is everywhere. We thrive on that shit. We built the city on advertising. But I felt a little bit like a bus. When you see a bus and you got like a face on it, it's like, oh, we're number one. We're the number one sales team in the district of all districts, in the local region, in the city, in the inner city, in the interstate, in the cross state, worldwide. Nationwide number one, top 10 sales team. And you're like, what do you sell? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, like there's a face, maybe there's a couple of faces, maybe there's like 3, 4, 5 faces. You've seen faces, dude, whether it's like, oh, real estate, insurance, did you break a leg? Did you take a fall? Want to get a divorce? You know, it's just like everything. So now I'm that bus, dude. I'm a bus with my grocery bag walking outside, and that's the kind of vibe I'm putting out. Like, you know, 9:30 in the morning. Just felt a little bit used. And also, what am I going to use for my garbage bags? Because I've talked about this before. Single-use plastic bags in this household are multifaceted. You bring your groceries home with it, and then you turn those same plastic bags into garbage bags. That's where the garbage goes. But now I got this thick bag that's going to last me for probably, like, it's not even recyclable anymore, and it's got like 10 different people's faces on it. And now I'm walking, talking, just like walking down the street subliminally, you know, pushing the local real estate agent, the local divorce lawyer lady. I'm that guy, and you're that guy, and that lady too. So, you know, you win some, you win some more, and then things happen sometimes where you're like, oh man, this doesn't feel like an L, but like, you know, not too fond of it either. Asking questions, having fun, staying silly with it. Baby boys, baby girls, thank you very much for all the love and support. Again, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a Glad You Made It. That's the name of the show. Find it on YouTube by searching Glad You Made It. Glad You Made It, Glad You Made It on YouTube for the full-length videos. Okay? Subscribe. Helps your boy out. Subscribe. It really does help me out. It means a lot because, again, independent operation working here, meaning we are not associated with any companies whatsoever. Just ground up sort of, grassroots, grain fed, free range, local, I'm there in the local farms. You'll catch me, dude. You'll catch me. You'll see a cow on these farms. You'll see some, teat action going with the cows, and you also see me on them same fields, and somebody's just like doing the same thing with my tits, and nothing's coming out, but I give back in different ways. Okay? And you're like, what were you doing on the farm? You're asking the wrong questions. The point is that we're homegrown, that we're organic, essentially, okay? No GMOs up in this bitch. No artificial intelligence up in this bitch. Regular intelligence is also very, it's debatable. Do you know what I mean? It's up for debate. So I'm just like doing my best, having fun. Again, subscribing on YouTube helps your boy, because them numbers, it helps, and it's free. It helps move the algorithm, and I'd like to move the algorithm. If I could, I would, dude. If I could just if I could just pull the algorithm to the side for a second and just put my hand around his shoulder and just like have a little chit chat for a second and figure out what it is that the algorithm likes. Just because here's me and the algorithm, right? And I'll be like, these are my hands. This is the algorithm, just arm around it. And I'll go just like this, dude. What's my finger doing? I don't know. If the algorithm likes it, then so be it. That's the type of fella. I'll do that for the algorithm. You know what I mean? Anything to move the algorithm. Anything to make the algorithm feel alive. Anything, So that's YouTube. And then you're like, oh man, we really like this show. We like to, and you say it's an independent creation that works with family, friends, and community. Little by little, very little by little. One teeny tiny step at a Yes, you inquisitive sons and daughters of bitches. It is independent and it's growing. And you're like, we'd like to help some more. How could you help? You could either follow me on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, or you can check out patreon.com/RobSadri, where you can donate or become a member. It's not even a donation, dude. Basically, you're getting all these videos, all these entertaining videos, talking about everything and nothing, with fun little, cute little titles, dude, with cute little titles and a little just like 45 minutes to an hour, just fun sesh going down and up, and we go through everything, dude, all the emotions and the human experience. We talk about it all. Literally everything. and we're growing. You're like, yeah, I want to see this grow. Or that's patreon.com/RobSanity. That's where you can fund this show, and little by little, you'll see us growing bigger and bigger and stronger. And then sometimes it's like, sometimes we'll take a fall. We'll fall, and like, because we're always moving forward. But once in a while, you're like, oh no, this could have been better, or this could have been. We learn too. That's the thing. We don't just like stay stagnant, bitch. We don't just, none of that. Constant growth. Like, imagine if a show was able to be on growth hormones, and you're like, you just like said this is organic, 2 minutes, and I did. But guess what? You know what? If you could inject it with growth hormones, would I? Dude, bring the cows, bring the, we'll keep it organic. Bring a cow, bring a horse, and we'll get that testosterone in this program. Because I can't, that's what it is. We'll get it in here. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to put out. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. What I'm trying to say is that I love you. Thank you. If you watch these videos, if you enjoy them, if they've done anything for you, thank you very much. There's a whole lot more that you can check out. And there's going to be a whole lot more being made in the future. As we're talking, we're making it together. And I'm glad that you made it out here, joining me, letting me be a part of your life, and allowing me to be a part of your life, and you being a part of my life. And we're all just a part of each other's lives in this bitch, doing it together. Shout out to everybody out there. Good vibes, good thoughts. Keep kicking butt. I'll see you guys back here again on Friday. Rock and roll. Peace out.